All right. Test, test, test. I still don't have any audio. Let me see if I can fix this. Nah, I'll leave it. I don't need it anyways. So let's get a little bit of context here. Looks like we did drop off from the open pretty aggressively. Got a couple levels above, a couple levels below. It kind of looks like we're in between two of those levels right now. Pretty strong uptrend here. I had to take this off of sim, which is unfortunately going to reset all my levels, but it needs to be done. Trading 6 lots today. 6 tick stop. We do have a couple older levels here that I'm seeing on the left, but right now it is pretty short biased. We are also slip ranging at the moment. Nice move up into those sellers. Looks like sellers are redefending here. I'm going to try the short into the slip range. Take a 1 tick loss on that. I didn't like how we spiked downward and then instantly redefended. I do think that this could be setting up for a breakout, and there it goes. So I'll count that as a good trade. My exit there was very price action focused. That being said, we did fail to make a new high. I think there could be a short-term defense at this level. I'm going to try 27.25 short. Take it off there for a nice 5-tick win. Keep it conservative at the beginning of the session. Looks like a lot of these sellers up here are getting absorbed. I'm not too crazy about shorting here, although now it does seem to be a proper defense. I just don't know what's above us. So for that reason, I don't think I'm going to attack this area again. Above 29.50, because I had to reset my chart, I really don't know what's up there. So I don't want to get short and then get caught in a low node reclaim. Got a 112 lot defense down here. I'm going to try the long. It's got good risk reward, but it is grinding against me. Take a stop there. I think that trade was pretty valid, and I'm going to put a try 2 on. See if we can accept back above those early buyers and get the slip range. Got it, 27.50. So it took a 5-tick loss, but a 9-tick win. So up 4 ticks on that trade overall. Still puts us green on the day. Does kind of look like a breakout is happening here. We're grinding up into the highs here. Reclaim assisted. Some of these sellers may be getting squeezed, but it's kind of too early to tell. No super obvious setup here. I was thinking about a long here, but we just don't have a lot of defense below us. It could have sucked back in as a false breakout, and it still might. There it goes. Um, I am pretty confident in a short up here at 27.50, but I'm going to call that setup over. Sometimes I don't get the pullback I want, and that's fine. Do have a pretty nice low note above us, but I want to see buyers defend a few times here. Big seller down there. Let's see if buyers will step in to trap him. I do not like fading a downtrend, so I want to be super certain that this seller's trapped. Try the shimmy back, 23.25 long. Take the stop there, unfortunately. A little bit slip against on that entry. And I'm not going to try to it just because I don't like fighting a downtrend. Um, the fact that we defended this big high node right here tells me that we are in a pretty established downtrend. And sometimes I can get into trouble fighting those. So let's just see what happens. We are putting in a bit of a defense here. Oh, big move up. Glad I didn't get caught in that. I'm not too interested in chasing this move or fading this move. We do have a bit of defense down here at 24. Looks like they want it. I'll chase to 24.50 long. I'm going to try to it. Basically double my risk here, but I think there could be double the reward if this sucks back up. And I'll take another stop there. So 3 losses in a row, which tells me that longs aren't really working today. And the volatility is a little high. So if this pattern continues, may have to consider increasing my stop on each trade. But for now, I kind of chalk it up to just that open volatility. I'm not too worried about it, but I do want to stop fighting the trend. If we are in a true downtrend today, then I do not want to get caught on the wrong side of it. Another pretty sharp move down here. It is pretty light above us, but it's also pretty light below. There could be a reject here off of this high node. Try the 1850 short. Took it off with a flat key there. It just got a little wiggly for me, and it looked like buyers did defend down here. So flat key for a 2-tick loss, which is all right. This does look like a pretty successful defense of the lows. I am long biased since now all these offers are now getting erased. So let's see if we can maintain this trend up or if we reject off of the highs again. Excuse me. I don't really see any setups for the time being. The auction is still pretty balanced. We got sellers below, buyers above. I really want to see a one-way auction. There's a little bit of seller defense here with the low node below. I might try the 23.25 short. I am slip against, so I need this to break quick. Bit of a move down. Take it off there. 21.25. That was a 8-tick win. As long as my average win is larger than my average loss, I am happy. And so far, all of my losses today, I think, have been no larger than 5 ticks. That was also a really good entry or exit because you can see it came back pretty quick there, which confirms the long bias. So while that was a very temporary moment of clarity to the short side, I do think there could be more of an upside here. Circumstantial, though, depends how we get there. It does look like these sellers are battling to keep price down, but they are losing. They are getting squeezed. Pretty thin market today. Just got to be mindful of that. Do have some nice buyers coming in here. However, we also have a resistance at 32. So if we reject this resistance, the bias could flip, and these buyers could get squeezed to the downside. Let's see what happens. So still pretty grindy up here. Buyers are accumulating positions. Let's see if we can maintain a steady uptrend into that reclaim. I'm pretty comfortable with a 30-50 long because it does look like we are maintaining this trend upward. See if I can catch the slip to the upside. Took the stop, and it looks like the trend has changed. Trade would have worked. Stop was a little tight. I think if I was a little bit more conservative with my entry, like 29.50, I think that could have worked. So that is something I just want to keep in mind moving forward, is try to go for the more conservative entries. Pretty thin uptrend here. Nothing too crazy that I'm seeing. Just going to wait for some more slip ranges to set up. One thing I want to force myself to do today is if there's no setups, don't trade. That's it. If there's no setups and I don't trade, then the only thing I can do is make money. Cash is a position. A little bit of selling stepping in on NASDAQ. If sellers can hold their positions up here at 41s, there could potentially be a reversal, but for the time being, it looks like they are getting squeezed. Another big chunk of sellers. They are underwater though. A little bit of a change in character here, but still not quite convinced. The boat needs time to turn around, so if this is going to reverse, which it doesn't really look like it is, then it's going to take time. We do have some trapped buyers, potentially. We haven't seen much of that yet today. All right, those buyers are now trapped. Let's see if they get absorbed and turn into sellers. We'll try the shimmy back, 44.50 short. May not want to give it to me though. We also now have trapped sellers below, so I'm going to pull that order. Bit of a coin toss here. Looks like buyers are now stepping in. There could be an auction going on here. Who will win? I don't really know. That's why I'm not going to trade quite yet. A little bit of upside. And there's the move up. So even if I caught that short, it would have came back on me pretty quick. This does look like a very established uptrend for the time being. A little bit of absorption going on here. However, price action is still grinding up. The reason I'm not going long on this trend is because it's way too thin below us. This is a pretty thin move up. That selling looks pretty good. I do have a bit of a block I can lean into. I'll try the 49 short. The win rate shorting a trend like this is pretty low. I do expect this to come back on me, honestly. However, the risk to reward is kind of as good as it gets. Let's see if they defend here. Yeah, this looks like buyer defense. So I flat keyed that for a 4-tick loss instead of a 6-tick loss, which I'm pretty happy with. Again, the risk to reward was there, but the win rate is pretty low on trades like that. We are starting to put in some thicker areas on the long side, so I do think longs could be on the table. The problem is the higher we trade, the lower the win rate is because the reclaim below us is pretty substantial. So I'm not going to attack it too aggressively. I do have this thick area at 52. Could potentially go long on. However, it's so thin below that the chances of it going right through are non-zero. We have another thick area down here. I'm going to try the 50 even long. Takes the stop. I'm going to try to it, extend my risk just a little bit. And I think that might be the says that's the loss threshold. Yeah, I don't know why that trade flat keyed there, but I guess it was a good thing. In hindsight, I don't think this long was a very good trade because we have trapped buyers above. I do not want to see trapped buyers above me when I'm going long. I would prefer it to just be sellers above, which sounds kind of contradictory, but my system exists for a reason. There is a nice head and shoulders setup on the to the short side here. However, the order flow isn't quite clear enough for me to take a short quite yet. Could set up though, for the time I am short biased. A little bit of seller defense here. It is grinding up though. Let's see if I can get a shimmy back. 46.75. And that instantly flat keyed, so there must be something going on with my risk parameters here. Let me see if I can fix that. Because I suppose I am down 200 after commissions, but I don't think that should be locking me out. Trader dashboard, risk parameters, by trader. Yeah, the commissions are pretty nasty today. So trade frequency is kind of a problem. I got to make sure my trade frequency isn't too high. We did have 10 o'clock news there. It does look like we've made a pretty parabolic low. Let's see if buyers can defend this area. A bit of a defense here. Try the 40-50 long. It is pretty thick above us. That could mean we run into some trouble. I'll extend my stop by 1 tick. The risk reward here is kind of worth it for me to risk the lows. I do also want to reduce my trade frequency, so I don't want to sit here and keep attacking this if I get stopped out. So I'll extend my risk a little bit. See if buyers want to defend this area. And I'll take the stop. I do not want to fight a downtrend today. Pretty big ceiling down here. Could potentially get trapped. We also do have a nice level to work with on the 3-minute chart. However, I'm going to need a lot more confirmation of that. Pretty nice buyer there. My risk parameters, though, are locking me out, so I might have to be done for the day, unfortunately. Because I think what's happening is, and I didn't know this until now, is that my risk parameters that I'm setting for myself on Rhythmic, um, they seem to be based off of uh, net P&L as opposed to gross P&L, which is fine. If I have to stop here, then I will. Yeah, it does look like minus 372 on the day, and my daily stop loss that I've set for myself is 375. So I'll go ahead and stop it there. Call it a day. Maybe what I might do is I might switch to some drills and see if I can hypothetically bring that back up. However, there is an open order here that I'm going to have to cancel. Okay, that has canceled. Let me just make sure I don't have any open orders. Would hate to have some open orders right now. Okay. Doesn't look like we do. So I'll go ahead and switch this to sim. See if we can do some drills today and just take this as a red day. Get into some review later. Bit of a buyer defense here. I'll try the 3150 long. Got it. See if I can get the microstructure high. Bit of big orders coming in. Took it off there at 33.25. Nice little win. Go ahead and try it again for the defense, 32. And as long as we stay above 35, I'm pretty comfortable holding this. Ooh, big move down. That was pretty good fill on the stop there. In hindsight, I do think I should have taken that off at the microstructure high. Pretty thick buyers here. It's pretty thick all the way down. I do kind of see a shimmy back long around 30s. There is a lot of buyers positioned down here, and they are all pretty thick. Nice little flush fuck there. Squeeze out all those early buyers and then refresh the auction, which it looks like they're doing pretty successfully today. Do have a couple thick areas to play with here. I would like the more conservative entry around 37.50. I'll try the 37.75. A bit of overshoot here, but it is still pretty thin above. See if we can zip right back up and take it out. Structure highs. I'll take it. 9-tick win. I do have to, though, because I've extended my risk from 6 ticks to 10 ticks, I do have to shoot for wins that are higher than 10 ticks. Another retest of the same area. However, it's pretty thick above. I'm going to go ahead and take this trade off for a 3-tick win. I think the sellers maybe went gearing up to take this auction over. They're running into a bit of trouble. I'll do a try to 39.75. Lean into this big buyer here. 41.50. Got it. So yeah, these sim trades are going pretty well. I think what's happening is on the live side today, I think my stop was too tight. I think 6 ticks was a little too tight considering the volatility today. So what I might have to do in the future is when I notice something like that happening is drop size a little bit and extend my risk, because as much as I want to be a cowboy and just, hit big trades on full size, it's just going to eat up my P&L quicker, and that's kind of what happened today. Is my P&L essentially just went straight down because I was getting stopped out on every trade. Whereas if I drop size and extend my risk, then I've got a little bit more runway. And I think that was the adjustment that I should have made today. But that's also hindsight. It's easy for me to say that now that I'm doing good on drills. But at the time, it was just a little too chaotic for me to make that conclusion. Another move down. I'll try the 39.50. I'm going to go ahead and say I missed that. Another pretty sharp move down. Buyers might want to defend here, but it's so thin below us. Like, I can't really see any levels to work with. In fact, we actually have quite a few levels above. Trapped seller at 40. Looks like he's already out of the market, though. Bit of defense here. I'm going to try the 43 short. Chase by 2 ticks, but I don't really want to go much further than that. We are pretty thick above, and there's nothing below us, which does tell me we could be taking that low. Looks like seller's getting absorbed here. I'm going to cut that for a 3-tick loss. Just because there is now an auction going on here, and it does look pretty buy-sided. That was a good cut there. Right back down. Yeah, so lots of volatility today. Definitely think that dropping size and increasing my stop would have been a good call today. A little bit of buyer defense here. However, they are now trapped and flat. Pretty thick noted area above us at 39. I'll see if I can't get a fill there to the short side. Touched my order, but no fill. I'll leave it open just because the setup is still technically valid. There's the 38 fill. It is pretty thin below us, but buyers are starting to rear their head. Yeah, this is starting to look like absorption, so I'll take it off there. That was a good cut. 5-tick loss as opposed to a 10. Buyer defense, I'm going to flip to the long side, see if I can't get a 39 fill. 39.25, got it. And there's a super thin area above us. I do think we could slingshot up to 43s. Take it there, 42.25. That was a 3-point win. Nice move up. Trapped buyer at 47.50. Also a big one at 46. I think they could be trapped for a short squeeze. I'm going to try a 45 short. It is relatively thin below us. That's a nice move. I'll take it off at 43 for a 2-point win if I can get filled. Starting to thin out a bit. There has been more confirmation. Those buyers up there are still trapped. Bit of an auction going on here. It does look like the buyers are positioning to defend, so I'll take that off for a 1-tick loss. Those trapped buyers trades are really hard to pull off. You got to be super quick on the trigger pull. There's the move down. think the trade technically would have worked, but it was just a little too risky. We do have a pretty nice low node above us with buyer defense. Got the stop on that one, unfortunately. Could be a try too. I'll try 42.75. But it looks like this thing might want to keep heading down. So to critique my own trade there, too many trapped buyers above for me to go long. That seems to be a lesson that's really hard for me to stick with. Is that I should not be going long when there's buyers trapped above me, and I should not be going short when there's sellers trapped below me. Still too many trapped buyers above for me to want anything out of this to the long side. We are coming up on top of the hour, and I do want to review some of those live trades I took. So I'm going to call it here. Sucks that we had to eat a red day, but I did learn a lot from it. I think two of the most important lessons are when volatility spikes, I should drop size and increase my stop loss. And the second lesson is I should not be going long when buyers are trapped above me, and I should not be going short when sellers are trapped below me. If I could just stick to those two rules, I think I can do good on a day like today. So I'll cut the stream here, jump into review, and we'll be back on Wednesday.